why people knew what to do and didn't do it, and knew what not to do and did it anyway. It's your beliefs, most of which are unconscious, that totally determine our behavior, our emotions, and ultimately our reality.
Whether you believe that you can or you can't, you're
right.
Absolutely right.
I had a client who came to me and he said, I'm in corporate, I hate it, I want to start my own business, I'm just terrified, I can't. And I said, okay, what do you believe? And he said, entrepreneurship is dangerous. Corporate work is safe. That's what his father told him when he was a kid. He got rid of that belief with me, called me 10 years later and said, Shelly, my business is worth $45 million and I want to buy out my partner and I'm stuck. Can you help me?
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Level Up Podcast. This is Paul Alex, and today on the Level Up Podcast, I'm talking to Shelly Lefkoe, co-founder of the Lefkoe Institute and one of the world's leading experts on breaking limiting beliefs, guys. Limiting beliefs, it's a huge topic of mine. I'm a big believer in it, and I feel like everybody needs to work on their limiting beliefs before getting into entrepreneurship, so you guys are going to love this episode. Now, for over 35 years, Shelly has actually helped people rewrite the thoughts that quietly run their lives, guys. Okay. We're diving into how their beliefs shape your success, your happiness, and what really takes to make lasting change. Shelly, welcome to Level Up.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, Shelly, before you built the Institute, what was your own life like? What was the first thing that actually made you curious about how our beliefs shape everything?
Well, it was actually my late husband. So we were both always in personal growth and, very into being the best versions of ourselves. And my late husband was on a spiritual, intellectual journey to discover why people knew what to do and didn't do it, and knew what not to do and did it anyway. And in his own life, he was struggling. Things were supposed to turn out and they just didn't. And so he was on a plane going to California and he was journaling like why people know, and everybody listening, you all know this is true. If you exercise and eat well and get a lot of sleep, you will have a better quality of life and you'll probably live longer. And a lot of us don't do it, especially workaholics who don't make time for themselves, entrepreneurs building their businesses, and they put everything into that. And he said, why would that be? And this was, Alex, 35 years ago when nobody was I used to say beliefs and people would say, you mean religious beliefs? Like, what do you mean? Today, everybody knows you can't change behavior or emotions without changing beliefs. So he downloaded this process and came up with the idea that it's your beliefs, most of which are unconscious, that totally determine our behavior, our emotions, and ultimately our reality. So I've never worked with anybody who had the belief life is hard, who had an easy life. So our beliefs determine our reality. And he came home and he said, Shelly, wait till you see what came through. He said, came through me. He was very humble. And he found a friend of ours who kept getting into shitty relationships. And she said, I just want to meet a great man. And he said, well, what do you believe about men? And she goes, oh my God. She goes, men are selfish assholes. They only want one thing. And she just, so he picked one of those beliefs, got rid of it, eliminated it totally and completely. And I sat there, Alex, and it was like spirit whacked me on the head and said, this is why you are on this planet, to do this. And that was it. It came through me. We train people and it takes a while to train people to do what I do. I breathed in and it was mine. And it has been for almost 40 years now.
Wow, that's amazing. And you've been able to build a massive company from this. How long did it actually take you to get it from ground up? Like from the first time you went ahead and you were like, hey, I want to start a company that's going to help people change their lives, to actually obtaining your first client?
We got clients right away. I mean, people, and in those days we used to do sessions in person. And I remember there was one woman who I'm still in touch with on Facebook, who drove 2 hours each way to see me. And we did 10 sessions. She met the love of her life. She became an actuary, became very successful, and now has 5 grown kids who just left for college. And when she came to me, she wasn't even with her husband yet. So we started growing the business. It was interesting because it happened very fast. We were working in companies and corporations at the time to shift corporate cultures, because a corporate culture are filled with beliefs. And my husband was traveling all the time, and he hated it, and he was away from us, and he didn't want to do it. So he blew it up. I mean, not intentionally, but we made $1 million the first year. And next thing I knew we were back. The market crashed, and he started paying our employees out of our personal savings, and I was totally complicit. And we went bankrupt, and we had a magnificent home in Westport, Connecticut, with a swimming pool, and my mother called it, in her delightful way, the movie star house. With her New York accent, the movie star house. And we lost the movie star house, and we had to start all over. But we realized that what was important to us, in my book, Hitting the Wall, which is for entrepreneurs, I talk about watering all the plants. So if you had a lot of plants, you would never water just one. Obviously, the rest would die. And so he wanted to water his family plant, and his relationship with me plant, as well as our career plant. And we both wanted to make a difference. And we really wanted to do it with individuals, at the time, not in corporations. So we started over, and we ended up moving to California because there are way more conscious people out here. And we just built the business from there, and we started doing trainings. We trained therapists and coaches and people to do what we do. And when my husband died 10 years ago, I was the people person. So you can put me in front of an audience of 1,000 people, I'm fine. Working, you can put Oprah in front of me, and I'll work with her, and I'm fine. But run a business, Alex, shoot me in the head. I was like, I don't know how. I don't want to. It's not my thing. And I had to, and through using some of the skills, I'll talk a little bit later about how to get rid of any negative emotion in the moment. So that's what I can at least give you. I can't eliminate a belief with you in, the short time we have, but I can teach you something that will make a difference in your life. So given the beliefs that I had eliminated, I said, you know what? Mistakes and failures are not bad. I can go for it, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And I've tripled the business. It's still nowhere near where it should be given what we have. But we're doing well, and I'm happy, and we're making a huge contribution. But it was not an easy journey for me.
No, absolutely. And, it should never be processed in the very beginning that entrepreneurship is going to be easy. But at the end of the day, you guys went through your seasons, and I always tell people, in life, there's always seasons. But the one thing you got to remember is that number one, it could always be worse. Number two, it will pass.
Yeah.
Number three, entrepreneurship, when it's good, it's great. When it's bad, it's horrible. So the fact that you were able to be a success your first year, go lose it and then go back again and rebuild is amazing. And I love to hear those type of stories. It's real.
Thank you. Yeah.
No, absolutely. So, Shelly, most people try to think positive, okay, or just push through fear. Why doesn't that kind of surface change actually work?
Love that. And I'll take it even a step farther. Evidence doesn't get rid of beliefs. And standing in front of a mirror going, I'm good enough, I'm good enough, I'm good enough. You know, sometimes I listen to your wonderful tidbits that you give in 2 to 3, 4 minutes, and I love them. And if you have beliefs that are consistent with doing that and listening to you, you'll just take it and run with it. If you have beliefs like I'm not good enough and I don't matter and I'm stupid and I'm not capable, which so many people have, and I'm going to talk about, I actually want to make a distinction before I answer your question. The distinction is beliefs versus patterns. So a pattern is what you want to change. Beliefs are a means to an end. We want to stop procrastinating. We want to stop workaholism. We want to stop anxiety. We want to stop being depressed. We want to, so patterns are observable. They're either behavioral or emotional. And I can see you procrastinating. I can see you not speaking up for yourself. I can see you be an autocratic manager. And, you know, I can see the consequences of that. A belief is a statement about reality that you hold as the truth. That's what a belief is, right? It's not wishy-washy. It's not sometimes or maybe. A belief is this is the truth. And most of our beliefs are unconscious. And here's why 15 years of therapy and all the personal growth work and all the spiritual work doesn't usually get rid of beliefs. Okay? So I'll give you a metaphor. Let's assume you have an employee who doesn't listen to you. And you tell him to do something and he doesn't listen to you. And you turn around and say to me, see, I told you he doesn't care what I want. And it is as if you could see he doesn't care what I want or he doesn't respect me. And it's like you can see that. Like, can't you see he doesn't respect me? You cannot see he doesn't respect me, but you can see he or she not doing what you ask them to do. Okay? So we think we saw our beliefs in the world, and it is impossible to not believe something you think you saw.
Wow.
Alex doesn't like hats. Well, of course he does. No, he doesn't. What are you talking about? You know, he wears a baseball cap. No, he doesn't like hats. I couldn't convince you, right? Because you see him wearing a hat. But if Alex said, oh, I hate hats, I'm just covering up a scar on my head, that's why I wear it, and he took his hat off, and you said, oh, I never saw that Alex likes hats, I only saw that he wears hats, then that belief that he likes hats goes away. And I'll give you one more metaphor. Santa Claus. For 8 years, you believe in Santa Claus. And one day, you guys, you look and go, wait a minute, that's my dad. Oh my God. You know, that actually happened to my niece. She just went, Daddy? And that was it. Her belief in Santa Claus was gone because she got, I never saw Santa Claus. I made that up. And so the way that our beliefs get formed is we come into this world We don't know if we're good enough or not, important or not. We don't know if life is hard or easy. I had a client, you'll love this, Alex. I had a client who came to me many years ago, and he said, I'm in corporate. I hate it. I want to start my own business. I'm just terrified. I can't. And I said, okay, what do you believe? And he said, entrepreneurship is dangerous. Corporate work is safe. That's what his father told him when he was a kid, right? He got rid of that belief with me, called me 10 years later and said, Shelly, my business is worth $45 million and I want to buy out my partner and I'm stuck. Can you help me? I said, yes. So going back, we come into this world, and if you get ignored by your parents or you don't get a lot of attention, kids are likely to conclude, I'm not important. So for those of you listening who are looking at your iPhones while your kid is talking to you, that's what they're concluding. I'm not important. If you get criticized all the time, which we all did, you conclude, I'm not good enough. The most common belief I work with. If your parents are struggling with money, you conclude money is scarce and hard to get. If your father's an entrepreneur and loses his business or his partner screws him over, you're going to conclude it's dangerous to be an entrepreneur. If they yell at you every time you make a mistake or fail, you're going to conclude mistakes and failures are bad. And remember what we just talked about. No amount of evidence, and you can read every business book on the shelf or listen to Alex tell you, if you're going to level up, you got to make mistakes, you got to fail. And you can't do it if you have the belief mistakes and failures are bad.
I love that. I love that. I loved absolutely everything that you said, because I'm such a big believer in environment. What you listen to, what you see at a young age can dramatically affect your decision making as a teenager, as a young adult, as a man, as a woman, even in your marriage, even in your when you're in your dating. I mean, it absolutely affects everything. You know, when I finally got out of my career in law enforcement, I had to sell everything to move away because I knew that the people around me for the past decade were my people anymore. And I had to level up and be around people who were more optimistic and be around people that were at a higher frequency than me, because I wanted to be at a higher frequency. There's a saying, and I'm pretty sure you agree with this: whether you believe that you can or you can't, you're
right.
absolutely right.
My husband used to say that all the time. Yeah, that's exactly right. It's everybody
Absolutely.
listen. That's gold, as Alex always gives you, gold. That's why you should give him a 5-star review.
I appreciate that. But no, I like I said, I was very excited about this interview because everything that you're saying, I believe in it. It's what I preach to every single person that I work with, even my wife. I remind her on a consistent basis, hey, we are what we think, we are what we say, who we're around, we will adapt, we will be, you know, and you're always chasing the greater version of yourself. And then that's the mindset that you should have. I always want to go ahead and do better, right?
Yeah.
So I love that. So Shelly, you worked with thousands of clients, and it shows, right? You've been doing this for a very long time. What is one belief you see almost everyone struggle with?
Yeah, I'm not good enough. I tell you, Alex, it blows my mind. I work with pretty high level people. And I mean, I work with a lot of people, but I work with pretty high level people. And one of the things, I used to have a niche, and I don't anymore because I got so bored. It was like the same beliefs, and I'll tell you what the top beliefs are. But fear of public speaking was a niche. And we guaranteed we get rid of it in 5 sessions or less. It guaranteed, because it's such a no-brainer. And everybody says, oh, my fear is the worst when C-level people come into the room, or when the boss walks into the room or the owner of the company walks in. And then I work with CEOs, right, who call me and they go, I have 150 employees and I go to make a speech and I'm at 1,500. Sorry, this was the other day. I have 1,500 employees. He said, and every time I walk on the stage, I'm a nervous wreck. And I said to him, you do realize that when you walk on the stage, they all get nervous, right? And he says, I know. It's called, of course, imposter syndrome. And I'm not good enough is the main belief. So the 5 most common beliefs that most people have, and I'm going to tell you, if you're going to be a successful entrepreneur or you're going to level up in any aspect of your life, you cannot do it with these beliefs. I'm not good enough. I'm not. So everybody listening, just take a deep breath. I want to just show you something. Say out loud, if you can, if you're in a place to do that, I'm not good enough. Now say, I'm a monkey. Now, when you say I'm a monkey, I'm going to make an assertion. It feels silly or like nothing. When you said I'm not good enough, does it feel the same or different? Most people say it doesn't feel good to say it. And the first way you know you have a belief is it doesn't feel good when you say it. Now I'm going to talk to all of you high achievers out there who go, oh, I don't have that belief. Okay? And I want you to answer this question with me. What makes you good enough? If you answered anything other than nothing, I just am, you have the belief. Because now I'm going to explain. And Alex, for some reason, I couldn't wait to explain this to you because I know you're going to love this. So we come into this world, we conclude I'm not good enough and I'm not important. Those are the 2 first, most core beliefs. So now I'm not good enough in my face. That sucks. I don't want to walk around with that. You get acknowledged for something. So if you get acknowledged for A's and goals, you're going to conclude what makes me good enough is achieving things. Now I have a beach ball called I'm not good enough. But as long as I'm achieving things, the beach ball stays underwater. Okay, this is workaholism, you guys. But I have to keep doing it. We call it a survival strategy belief. If you get acknowledged for taking care of your siblings, because you come from a big family, you conclude what makes me good enough is taking care of people, and now you become a healthcare professional or a caretaker. But you still have to hold this beach ball underwater because every time you stop, up in your face it comes. Now, another belief is I'm powerless. I'm thinking of law enforcement officers. So you're a kid, and what does your father say when you say, why? Why can't I? What's the old saying that fathers, what will they say to you? Because
They'll say, because I said so.
Because I said so. Because I said so. Now I feel powerless, right? So people conclude I'm powerless. They don't know that they have this belief, but how does that manifest? So I'm going to tell you all a secret. This is very, very, very good stuff right now. This is a kernel. Underlying anger is always powerlessness. Because if you could do something about it, you just would. We get angry because we feel powerless. Underlying fear is always a real or imagined threat to your survival. And mostly when we feel fear, there is no threat to your survival. So survival strategy beliefs, I'm powerless. Well, how did my father have power? He controlled and dominated everybody. Oh, the way to have power is to control and dominate people. And then you get these, what was his name? The guy who had his shoe on, what's his name's throat? Oh God. Derek. You know who I'm talking about? The guy, George Floyd, the cop
Yes.
who
Oh,
did
yeah, the George Floyd incident, correct.
That's powerlessness, right? That police officer who did that felt so powerless that he had to do that to another human being. That's what that is. It's not like they're bad people or they're, we did a study with criminals. You'll love this. We went into a prison and there were criminals who were getting out. And we did a research study and we produced statistically significant behavior changes in criminals in 15 weeks, 15 sessions. They were completely different. And it was the most fascinating experience because what they believe is if I don't carry a gun in the hood, I won't have respect. That's what Chris's father told him. There was a wife beater that we worked with who had the belief if you do something wrong, you deserve to be punished. And the way to be punished is to beat. Of course, he beat women. He wasn't a bad human being. So we all have beliefs that determine our behavior. Workaholics don't not care about their kids, but they keep having to prove I'm good enough, I'm good enough, I'm good enough. I'm important, I matter by doing, by having a successful business. Except guess what, you guys? It's a heroin addiction. It doesn't make you good enough, evidenced by the fact that you have to keep doing it. And I'll make a distinction. You are not a human doing. You are a human being. At my husband's memorial, nobody said he went to University of Chicago and he wrote 3 books and he created. They said he was the most loving man they ever met. He was non-judgmental. He always was present and listened. He made me feel special. They talked about who he was, not what he did. One of the things I love about you, Alex, is in those minutes, in those short videos or podcasts that you do, I feel a sense, and it really moves me, that you really want to make a difference. Like it's not about you. It's not about look at me, I'm so cool. It's wow, I thought of something today. I want to share that with you. You want to. I mean, that's my sense. I could be wrong.
No, and you're actually on point. I made the podcast for self-help. That's mainly it's entrepreneurship. Yes, we're talking about business. We're talking about helping beginners. But at the end of the day, my biggest breakthrough was actually rewiring my mind. So I agree with you. Your mindset is the first step when it comes to changing who you want to transform to be like, right? And for most people, they don't understand that it is a transformation that you have to go through as a person, as an individual, and you have to break those limiting beliefs or those specific beliefs that you grew up, whether it was a toxic environment or whether it was your parents that they love you. But guess what? A lot of times people they don't understand that our parents, they just want to keep us safe.
Yes.
And safe sometimes is security. And for the people that want to be entrepreneurs, the people that want to go ahead and live and be a bloodline breaker, or be the first millionaire in their family, or be that game changer, right? Build generational wealth, they're going to have to go against the grain sometimes. And for a lot of people, like myself, I come from an immigrant family. My parents, they just grew with hard work. They grew and built their American dream just off of grit and resilience. So when I told them I wanted to leave law enforcement, it was one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make in my life, because I had my entire family against me to not leave law enforcement. So I agree with absolutely everything that you're saying, Shelly.
Yeah.
So Shelly, for the listeners that are listening right now, there are a lot of beginners. There's a lot of people that are probably going to go ahead and reach out to you after they listen to this interview. So for the beginner that's listening right now, who's tired of repeating the same patterns, you ever heard of that saying that says, I'm just sick of tired of being
Of
sick
being
and
sick and
tired?
tired. Yeah.
Yeah. What's one question
Yeah.
they can ask themselves today to start breaking free?
Great. What must I, and it's very hard to look on yourself. So first of all, you look at your pattern. One of the beliefs that I think, Alex, you just illuminated so perfectly is you have to work hard to be successful. And my co-author of my book is a serial entrepreneur. And he climbs Mount Everest. He does mudders. He owns a lot of different companies. He's a lawyer and in the entertainment business. He goes to Cannes, to the film festival, and, but mostly he is the most committed, devoted father I have ever. I mean, his whole life is about his daughter, and he takes his daughter and his mother and his sister and his niece on vacation either once or twice a year. He has the most unbelievable life. He is definitely watering all the plants. So this belief that you have to work hard to be successful, especially today with the internet, and you can make money in your sleep like I do. You don't have to work hard. So the first question I would ask myself is, what do I want to change? That's the first thing, because without wanting to change something, nothing is possible. So you have to say, what do I want to change? Do I want to work less? Do I want to exercise more, take care of my health better? Do I want to, how do I want to up level my life? Which area? So you have to water all the plants, right? Pick a plant and say, what's the issue? Where am I sick and tired of being sick and tired? I love that. And then ask, what might someone believe who's doing that? Right? So if it's about money, what might somebody believe that has them not ask for what they're worth? And you say, well, I don't deserve. It'll come up. The other thing is, listen to the voice in your head. Every time you say, I'm going to, the voice in your head will say, oh, you're not good enough, or, oh, you can't do that. Or listen to what you say when you make a mistake. See, because successful entrepreneurs, like I use this example, I love this example. The first iPhone had an antenna that used to break. I don't know if you guys remember that, but I do. And Johnny Ive didn't say, oh, God, I'm such a loser. I'm so stupid. Everybody's complaining about this iPhone. He said, I guess I'll just make an iPhone 2. And I think that's where 2.0 came from. Now, that phone I just showed you was an iPhone 15, and I know they just came out with the 17, right? I dropped my iPhone in the toilet and it cost me $600. My daughter dropped her iPhone a few years later in the toilet, took it out and made a phone call. So it's always, and I love leveling up. I just do. But it's the iPhone is leveling up. But if you beat yourself up every time you make a mistake or fail, you must have the belief that mistakes and failures are bad, or you wouldn't do that. Richard Branson says, if you're not failing a lot, you're going to be mediocre. Because if you're not failing, you're doing what you did yesterday, and you're never going to be successful doing what you did yesterday. So that's the question. What must I believe that has me X? And that's the first step to come up with the belief.
I love that. That's so powerful. You know, for a lot of people, when you ask them, why haven't you taken the step forward? Why haven't you gone ahead and just taken the leap towards your dream or that one thing that you want to do, whether it's going ahead and asking that girl or that guy out, or going ahead and asking for a job promotion or a raise, or finally just going at it and building that side hustle or that business you've always dreamed of, right? And it's always, I don't want to make a mistake.
You wouldn't be where you are if you left law enforcement and didn't feel like you could make mistakes or fail.
Yeah, I did
You
it
had to-
scared.
But look where you landed.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. That was wonderful, Shelly. Thank you very much. Shelly, where can my audience go ahead and actually learn more about you and actually get in contact with you to learn more about what you do?
Yeah. So I'm going to give them a free gift. So the first thing is, if you go to at Shelly Lefkoe on Instagram, LEF as in Frank KOE, I'm sure it'll be in the show notes, at Shelly Lefkoe, and then you type in Breakthrough 27, I will send you an opportunity to eliminate a belief for free. And you can have the experience of how to do it and the blueprint so you know how to do it. Now, the secret, of course, is to get all the beliefs underlying whatever pattern you want to change. But that's the first place you can find me on Instagram. And our website, of course, is lefkoeinstitute.com. And yeah.
There you guys have it. Shelly Lefkoe. She is the co-founder of Lefkoe Institute and one of the world's leading experts on breaking limiting beliefs, guys. Like I said, I mean, my show is all based on leveling up, but also with self-help. And I'm happy that Shelly was able to go ahead and actually speak because she is making moves and she's been making moves for more than 3 decades, guys. I mean, I'm glad to have met you, Shelly. Thank you for all that you do and continue with the massive success that you have built in the past 3 decades. Keep helping more people. I know what you're doing is very, very important. I mean, trust me, I needed that mindset shift just about 5 years ago. Otherwise, I wouldn't be where I'm at.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for doing what you do. I love your podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. And Shelly, just one last, I guess, word of advice.
Yeah.
To help my listeners and viewers to level up in 2025 going into 2026. What do you have?
Yeah. If you believe water is boiling, you will not put your hand in it. Your beliefs determine everything you do, think, feel, and act. So whatever it takes, get rid of those beliefs and it will change your life. And I'll tell you something, I'll give you a little gift because I really, I want to leave you with something that you can use. Meaning. So when you have an emotion and you feel scared or you feel depressed or you feel disappointed or angry, it is because you gave something meaning. They don't like me. This is not going to work. It's not going to happen. I can't do this. I'm not who people want to hear on social media, or everything has to be perfect. Whatever meaning you give will cause an emotion, right? Meaning is in your mind. All meaning is in your mind. So if meaning is in your mind, Do events have inherent meaning? And the answer is no. Events have no meaning. In other words, we don't know anything for sure because something happens. Okay? I was just on a huge podcast and I got a bazillion feedback and blah, blah, blah. That does not mean I'm going to get clients from it. It doesn't mean, that I'm going to get on more big podcast. We don't know anything for sure because something happens. It just happened. And that can keep you from, if you get disappointed or you get upset, you can say, what just happened? Right? I started a business and my biggest client said they're not going to use me. And you get like panic stricken. Stop and ask yourself, what just happened? My client said they're not going to work with us. What meaning did I give it? We're going to make it. We're not going to make it. We're going to go out of business. Where is that meaning in your mind? It's not in the events. And if you come up with one other possible meaning, well, it could mean that, and it could mean I'm going to get a bigger client, and it could mean they're going to change their minds. But the fact that they just said that has no meaning. We don't know anything for sure because it happened. And for entrepreneurs, I couldn't get off without giving you that. It is the best tool in the world because as we talked about, sometimes, as Alex said, being an entrepreneur is not easy. You're going to have tough decisions and you're going to make mistakes and shit's going to happen. And instead of reacting, the way to become responsive is to stop and say, what happened? What meaning did I give it? What else could it mean? And then get the event has no meaning. We don't know anything for sure because anything happens. I don't care what it is. Right? And I use that when my husband died. Grieving is healthy. Not wanting to get out of bed is not. What happened? My husband died. What meaning am I giving it that's having me not want to get out of bed? I'm going to starve to death. I don't know how to run a business. I tripled the business. So the fact that I didn't know how to run a business didn't mean I couldn't run one. The next day, what meaning did I give it? My husband's death. I'm going to be miserable. I'm going to be lonely for the rest of my life. Maybe. Then I found pickleball and I have a whole new life, and I have lots of friends and I go out and I rebuilt my life. So the fact that he died didn't mean I had to be miserable forever. So our circumstances don't determine what happens to us. The meaning that you give does. And that comes from your beliefs.
Wow. And that's what we call the level up, guys. Guys, leave a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We're currently ranked number 1 in business category right now and top 10 in all categories because of you guys, the listeners. For the 3 million listeners that we get on a monthly basis on the show, we want to thank you. We're going to continue to bring really great guests just like Shelly here to help you guys break down your limiting beliefs and to help you guys level up more in 2025 going to 2026. With that being said, my name is Paul Alex. This is the Level Up. We'll catch you on the next one.